fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. Today I am going to be working on another WIP and chat. If you're new here, welcome. WIP and chat, WIP, stands for work in progress, and chat stands for I'm going to be chatting while I'm working on this. So feel free to watch as I chat or grab your own project and work along as you listen. Either way, it's all good. I am going to just grab some colors here, and then I'm going to just kind of jump in. I am continuing to work on my leaves kit. This is from URBestDeals and is a kit that I was working on last time. I haven't made it any further in this kit simply because I have been working on my Diana. So I'm going to just jump in. Oh, a few little things. I am again using my Halloweeny looking pen from the Fringe Pen Place on Etsy. I do have a plastic multi-placer in here just because I don't have another one. I'm still waiting on some of my other metal multi-placers to come in, but I do have one of my metal tips here. And I am good to go. I'm using my yellow tray from Bella Art Dana Cole. I've actually started making my Christmas list already. How kind of scary is that? And my husband was asking me what I wanted, and I thought, oh, I'm going to put some trays and things on here that I wouldn't probably normally buy for myself, that my family can get me for Christmas. I've already done some Christmas shopping, scary as that is. I get ornaments every year, or I try to anyway, get ornaments every year to put on our tree. And I'm super excited. I found some cute little moose ones, the ones that you can get personalized with names on them and everything. I several years ago had to kind of start over my ornament collection, and so I have been slowly kind of building up, and so it's been a thing that every year I just kind of buy an ornament that has all of our names in the year on it. I haven't done it for a couple of years because we've just been busy with other things, so I wanted to do that this year. So I did, and I found it's 4 little moose in a canoe, and the paddles that they're using are kind of hanging over the side, and that's where the names get put on. So I got all of our names put on there, and then you can put, something down, the little waves that represent the water, you can get something put on there. So I had Christmas 2021 put on there. So, and then I buy a special ornament for someone every year, and I've purchased that. So I haven't done a lot of Christmas shopping yet, and I know it seems really early to a lot of people, but when you're getting them personalized, sometimes it can take a while. So I always try to kind of order those. Those are the first things I order, just so I know that they have plenty of time to get here and they'll be here in time. And also so that if a mistake gets made or whatever, I have time to order something else if I need to. I have time to get it corrected. And so, yeah. So I started Christmas shopping. I am excited because my husband is finally back from the hurricane, so that's yay. And also, he is out right as we speak, or as I speak. He is out. Oops, is that the right one? Yes. He is out paying off his car loan. Yay! Which means I'm going to officially call ourselves debt-free. We're not, because we still have our house loan, but other than our house loan, we have no debts. We have paid off all of our credit cards. We have paid off all of our car loans, paid off any bank loan that we had. And we still have some money in the bank, which is good because I'm still paying college tuition. So I do have things like that coming up. It's always those things that you forget about, isn't it? I try to remember to plan ahead. Like we have car insurance due this month. The state that we live in, you're required to carry car insurance. And we have been, for the most part, until recently, been required to carry comprehensive car insurance because we had loans on the cars. Now, we don't have loans on the cars anymore, but for a couple of the cars, we probably will continue to carry the comprehensive just because, you know, we need something back if something happens to the car so that we have something to use as a down payment. Eventually, hopefully, we'll be in a better situation and we can just, you know, when we want to purchase a car, go get one, but we're not there yet. We have paid off debts pretty much. So now the next phase for us is going to be working on building that wealth, for lack of a better word. We're not wealthy by any means, but, you know, building up our retirements, building up our savings. I don't know how many of you have heard of Dave Ramsey. When I first got into this, I followed several different financial YouTubers who kept mentioning his name, so I went and kind of looked. And I may have talked about him before a little bit, but basically, you know, if you talk to anyone who is in the world of finance, they will tell you, of course, when you start paying off and trying to get out of debt, the smartest thing to do is to pay off whatever loan is going to cost you the most in the long run, which for most people is probably going to be their mortgage because that's the one that's, you know, 30 years, 15 or 30, depending on what kind of a loan you get and where you live. And so that's the one, because it's the longest, that you're going to end up paying the most interest on. So the sooner you pay it off, the more money you're going to save yourself, which is true. However, because it is usually also the single biggest loan that people have, it means it takes forever to pay it off because it's a huge amount of money. And so people get discouraged because it's hard to see the headway that you're making. And so Dave Ramsey has this, what he calls snowball method. And that is that while it makes the most financial sense to pay off that biggest loan first, people get discouraged and then they stop doing it because it's hard to see results. They're just so far away that there's no kind of immediate satisfaction to paying something off. And so people get discouraged. So he has this snowball method where you take, instead of your largest debt, you take your smallest one. And that may not be the one that has the most interest associated with it. It might be the one that has the least interest associated with it, and that's okay. You take the one that has the least amount owed because it'll be the one that you can pay off the fastest. And so what he says is, do I need to reload this pen already? Oh, I pulled out every single piece of wax. No wonder nothing is sticking. Duh. Oh, it's stuck up there. I didn't even notice. Wow. I'm so busy talking. Anyway, this financial stuff excites me, can you tell? Because it was so extremely helpful to me. So you take your smallest loan and you pay it off first because you're going to see immediate results, right? You can immediately say, okay, I've paid off that loan. I don't have to worry about that one anymore. You continue paying on all of your other loans. He suggested paying the minimum. I didn't do that. I paid extra on all of mine while I continued to work on this method, but you know, you do whatever makes most sense for your financial situation. So you get the first one paid off. So you say you pay off a credit card that didn't have very much on it. And then you take that amount that you were paying toward that credit card every month and you put that towards the next biggest loan plus whatever you were already paying on that loan. You pay that one off. Then you take whatever you were paying for those first two. So say the first credit card you were paying $50 a month. You get it paid off. So you take that $50 a month that you were paying towards that credit card, and then you put it towards another credit card that you're paying $100 a month. So now you're paying $150 a month on that one until you get it paid off. You get that one paid off. Then you have a credit card, or let's say a car loan that you're paying $200 a month. So now you take the $200 a month you've been paying on your car loan, plus the $150 from the two previous bills, and start putting that. So now you're putting $350 towards the car loan. So you're going to get it paid off faster. So, but now you've paid off two bills and you're working on paying off that third one. And it psychologically, you can see that you're making progress. And so people tend to stick with it because you can see that reward of, okay, I've paid this one off. And literally that's what I did. We had some like box store, home improvement store credit cards where we had bought appliances or electronics or whatever that we didn't owe very much on. So I paid those off first. And actually, a financial person would have told me that made the least amount of sense because one of them we were paying 0 interest on. But it was a smaller dollar amount and I wanted it just paid off so I didn't have to worry about it anymore. So I got those paid off. And then once those were paid off, we had a bank loan and I started working on that. We had a car loan. When the bank loan was paid off, I started working on that. And I have just continued that snowball method of continuing to pay things off. And now we're setting pretty for some of the things that we want to do in the future. Because I've mentioned before, we want to move to Canada at some point. But now we're talking about, we might want to maintain a house in both places. I don't know if we're going to do that or not, but we're trying to figure out if we want to, how we could make that work. My oldest is probably going to stay here and work rather than going with us, but I think our youngest is going to go with us. So, trying to figure out, could we buy a smaller house than we're in currently that maybe my oldest could live in by herself, that we would probably have a mortgage on, but a smaller mortgage because it would be a smaller house. And then we would have some of the equity out of our current house that we could use to just purchase something outright up there rather than trying to go through trying to purchase something up there. Purchasing a house is hard enough here, and apparently up in Canada it's a whole different ball of wax. They do use realtors, but apparently you also have to hire a lawyer to help you with a lot of the stuff. I think the lawyer is sort of what a title company would do for you here, is what the lawyer does up there, but I'm not quite sure of that either. And we are lucky enough that his parents own some property up there, and so we've talked about just getting a small parcel of land from them. But I would want to be as self-sufficient as possible, and so, we're talking about, do we buy a modular home? Do we build from scratch? We've been fans of the kind of tiny home movement for a long time. We've watched a lot of videos on people who live in RVs or tiny homes or things like that, debating whether that's what we want to do. But we want to also, we want to have solar. We want to have, we'd have to have a septic system up there because it's where they live. There is no city sewer. And we would most likely have to have a well because I don't think there's any city water up there either. So those would be too expensive, but I would want to have solar because I think that would be better. Solar and wood stove for heat. And then we would have, what did I do with number 6? Oh, there it is. We would have maybe a small wind generator as well, so that we would be as self-sufficient as possible, so that we wouldn't have to worry when storms and things came through. You know, we would be self-sufficient. So lots of things for us to consider. And, you know, never having lived up in Canada, I'm not really familiar with how all of that goes. We debated, you know, moving up there and just renting someplace for a while until we could kind of figure out what we want to do. We may still do that. I don't know yet. But because one of the things we talked about is for my husband to kind of be semi-retired. And rather than have a job where he works, you know, all day, every day, like he has now, he would kind of semi-retire, and we would, well, essentially, he would just be like a storm worker. So he would go work for 2 or 3 months on a storm, like he has, you know, for the hurricane or whatever, or just travel someplace to work for 2 or 3 months, and then we could go back up to Canada and, you know, live pretty cheaply if we were as self-sufficient as we want to be, and he wouldn't need to work for 2 or 3 months. So essentially, he could start working part-time. I could work not really at all, except on things like this YouTube channel and whatever else I wanted to do, and kind of live our life that way. We've talked about buying some sort of RV or trailer, so that when he travels, I can go with him and just kind of park somewhere close to where he's at, so that we could still be together even when he's kind of away on working, rather than me staying behind like I usually do. But there's lots of logistics to work out. You know, my youngest is still in college, has a couple of years left, and it's possible that we could work it out where it's just an online degree, but we haven't really pursued that a whole lot yet. So still thinking about that and what we want to do. So, but I would like our move up there to happen sooner rather than later. And I think some of his family issues are going to make that happen. So, yeah, just trying to kind of get it all worked out, and happy that we've been able to make some progress on our financial goals and kind of get where we want to be. And now we can start working on putting away money, like I said, in an emergency fund, so that if anything should happen, you know, we've got a cushion to fall back on, which, you know, knock on wood, nothing is majorly wrong with our health, but, you know, that's always in the back of my mind, because it has happened before where he's been laid off. He got laid off 2 or 3 years ago, right before Christmas. So that was awesome. And, you know, we made it. We've done some things that we didn't really like to survive, but you do what you got to do, right? He spent 6 months living and working out in California while we were all back here, because at the time the kids were still in high school. So we couldn't really pack up and move, and I couldn't really go with him because I was working at the time too. So, you know, it's not always fun, but you do what you got to do. And then hopefully you can get to where you're doing the things that you want to do. So, yeah, so we'll start working on our savings, our emergency fund. I'm trying to save up enough that we have basically the rest of the college tuition saved up for my youngest, so that he can also graduate with no student debt. And I feel like that just gives them much more of a foot up into whatever they want to do. So, yeah, so excited for that. Excited that I'm getting closer to meeting my 1,000 subscriber goal here, because that means that I can continue on to some bigger and better things on the channel, which is always exciting. Always trying to come up with new and exciting things that I think are helpful for you guys. Like I've done several comparison videos. One of the first kind of comparison videos I did was my wax comparison to see, you know, which wax lasted the longest, which one I wanted to use. Tried a whole bunch of different methods and ended up at the glue dots. I still, as you see, use the pink wax sometimes just because it's faster. But I do love my glue dots. So I know they're not for everyone, but I love them. And I just did a couple of days ago, I did a tray comparison. So check that out if you haven't seen it. Because people had been asking for a comparison of trays. And I think, you know, you can watch the tray comparison video. I tried a whole bunch of different ones until I found the one that worked the best for me. I still use a variety of them just because, you know, you like variety, right? I'm not one of those diamond painters that goes out and like matches everything. You'll see some of the larger YouTubers who have, well, you know, this painting has a lot of kind of blues and greens, so they'll have a blue or green tray, a blue or green pen, or, you know, kind of to make everything match. And I don't worry that much about it. I just try to find things that I like. Like, do I like the way this tool works? And if the answer is yes, then I use it. And that's not to say that I don't come across, as I'm, you know, diamond painting, I don't come across things that I'm like, ooh, I want to try that and see if it works. Like those decorative tips that I have to say were actually a surprise. If you haven't watched that video, go check that one out. But those decorative metal tips, they are heavier, which has been most people's complaint about them, but they did actually work for me. Now, I did only try them with rounds, so I can't say how great they work with squares because I forgot to test them with squares, but again, I will say they worked fine for me with rounds. And since I do both, you know, if you're one of those people who only does rounds or only does squares, it might not work for you, but they were not the worst tips I've ever tried. Okay, so I think that I've got that whole thing filled in. Nope, I missed some twos right there. All right, let me pour some of those back out and fill those in, and then I can move on to the next section. So, did I miss anything else? Nope, I think I got those. Okay, so then I can move on to the next section. So I'm going to start over on the left-hand side here. So let me move some of this stuff out of the way, reposition so that you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. Get it in the shot here. Okay, hopefully everybody can see that. I am having to kind of be careful how I sit and stand. Went back to the doctor about my knee, and I'm being referred to an orthopedic doctor, and will possibly need an MRI and or other kinds of interventions. I've also been referred for physical therapy, so I start physical therapy on Monday, which I actually think will help a lot. I had an injury when I was younger and I had to have physical therapy, and it actually helped a lot. So I'm hopeful that will make some headway and I can avoid surgical intervention because that is not something I want to do. So, and other than that, my health is good. The vampires at the lab took a bunch of my blood and everything came back pretty good. So I'm one of those anomalies. I don't go to the doctor very often anyway. I was just raised that, unless you've severed a huge artery and you're bleeding a lot, or, you broke something, you didn't go to the doctor. And so I have carried that, good or bad, with me into my adulthood. I just really don't go to the doctor, unless I get, I've had strep. If it's something like that, I will go to the doctor. I have never, knock on wood, broken a bone, so I've not had to deal with that, although one of my children has broken a bone. I'm just, for the most part, I'm generally pretty healthy, and for my age, I always get double takes when I go to the doctor because they ask me what medications I'm taking, and the answer is none. Every once in a while, I'll get on a kick and take a multivitamin, and I'm old enough now that I'm going to have to bite the bullet and start taking them on a regular basis. Probably should have been doing it before now, but I'll start doing it now. I have been trying to get healthier, which is kind of how I ended up in this predicament. I was walking, and I don't know if that exacerbated an old injury, and that's kind of why I've ended up where I'm at with my knee. But for whatever reason, because the doctor told me they saw some degenerative changes in my x-ray, whatever that means. So, but again, I'm hoping to avoid not only medication, but surgical intervention. So we'll see what happens. I have gotten healthier before all of this happened, so I'm hoping I can keep it that way. Get my knee back in shape, and then I can go back to walking and doing what I was doing before. My husband and I would like to do some traveling. That's one of the reasons we've discussed me kind of traveling with him when he goes places, because he's probably seen way more of the US than I have because he travels around so much for work. So being able to go with him and do that sounds awesome. Not only would we get to be together, but we get to go to some places that neither of us have been before, which would be fun. And of course, I have dreams of, doing some sort of travel blog or travel channel or something, where we're traveling either around the United States or traveling around Canada. I'd like to do that, give people my experiences as an American in Canada, what is different, what is better, what is worse, what is just different. We've been up there several times already, and I know there are some things that are different. In fact, we were just talking about that yesterday, because where my husband is from in Canada, they don't really have drive-throughs the way we do here. I mean, we have all kinds of fast food places here. And not that they don't have fast food places where he's from, they do. But typically you go through the drive-through and then you either, well, you take your food home and eat it. They don't eat in the car. Even if they've gone through the drive-through. Now, they do like their Tim Hortons, and Tim Hortons does have a drive-through, but typically, again, you're buying it to take home and eat and or drink whatever it is at home. Because that's one of the things my husband doesn't like. If we stop at like a Sonic or someplace, he wants to sit in the parking lot and eat it then. He doesn't want to, or he wants to drive home. He doesn't like eating while he's driving. And while I get it, and it's probably safer actually, that's just not how we do things in America, right? So some days I don't mind sitting there in the car and eating, and some days I just want to get where I'm going. So I'm like, can we just eat in the car while we're going and get where we're going? And some days he's okay with that. Some days I eat in the car while he waits till he gets home. And that's probably better for us in the long run. We actually don't eat out much lately anyway. Kind of ever since COVID, we don't really eat out a whole lot. If we do, it is definitely something that we just pick up and then take home. I haven't actually been inside a restaurant in, well, probably since last March. We were actually traveling back from Canada. We were in Canada when the whole COVID thing hit in 2020, visiting, and had to cut our visit short and get back. They started shutting things down, and we were afraid we were going to get trapped. And my youngest was still in high school at the time, and leaving them to their own devices while we were trapped for God knows how long in Canada didn't sound like a great plan. Also, since my husband's job was here, as was mine, my sister called me in a panic one night and said, "You need to get home now, come home now." So we did, and we just made it back, thank goodness, because we haven't been able to get back since. So the borders were closed for a long time, so we weren't able to go, and then it's just kind of been one thing after another. Once the borders opened, he was, away for work, and it's just, like I said, kind of been one thing after another that's kind of stood in our way so far. So plus we'd have to fly. We fly for part of the way and then we drive, and flying right now is not something I want to do. So I don't know when we'll get back up there. Soon, I hope. Because even though my husband, that's what I tell my sister, when I'm gone, we'll still have, Zoom and those kind of things. We'll be able to video call and we can still talk to each other every day. I know that's not the same as being face to face, but it's better than nothing. Remember when you used to have to pay for long distance phone calls? Does anyone even have long distance anymore? Is that a thing? Did that just go away along with landlines? I'm going to have a landline when we move up there. A landline with an answering machine on it. I screen my calls already. If there's a phone call that comes into my phone and I don't know who it is, I don't answer it. If it's important enough, they'll leave me a message. And if it's not important enough to leave a message, then I didn't need to answer it. So many spam calls. And lately, my phone has decided, for whatever reason, almost every single phone call I get, it'll tell me where the call is coming from underneath. Every single one of them, it says it's coming from somewhere in Nova Scotia. Even when it's numbers that are local to where I am, it'll say that they're from Nova Scotia, which is crazy because I will look at the number and be like, oh, like I had doctor's offices calling me to schedule appointments for my physical therapy and my referral to the orthopedist, et cetera, et cetera. And so I could tell by the area code and the number who they were, but it still said they were coming from Nova Scotia, which I thought was hilarious. I would love to go to Nova Scotia. I'd love to live in Nova Scotia. Actually, I'd love to live in Newfoundland or Labrador because of the accents, but Nova Scotia's close enough. And also, that's where Oak Island is, and that's one of my favorite shows, The Curse of Oak Island. I watch that show religiously. One of the few shows that I actually keep track of. Speaking of which, I should see when their new season starts, because it should be starting soon. Was it season 9, something like that? They still haven't found the treasure, but it's okay. I just like watching it. I never thought they would find the treasure when I started watching it, so it's just interesting to see. Anyway, so my phone has decided that everybody lives in Nova Scotia. I keep telling my husband that's a sign, but he isn't listening to me yet, so we'll see. I'm trying to film this WIP and chat while he's out running errands, and my house is relatively quiet. My oldest is gone spending time with some friends. My youngest has disappeared downstairs to hopefully do some homework. but probably much more likely to play video games. So yeah, I'm taking the time while it's quiet to get some work done. I've got this video to film. I've got a couple other ones I want to get filmed. I need to do some editing because once again this week I have left this one way too late. Should have filmed it long before now, but we were busy doing other things yesterday and just didn't get around to it. So, but that's okay. We also spent yesterday dealing with our internet company because our internet company has data limits. Something that I hate because it's ridiculous. There are no data limits. They do it simply so that they can charge us more. As was evidenced from COVID, we could all have unlimited data and the internet would be just fine. But then they couldn't gouge you for more money. So we called yesterday because my husband thought that we could get gigabit internet. And so my youngest plays a lot of video games. I, of course, have the YouTube channel. We basically watch all of our shows via streaming. We don't have cable per se. We just have internet. And we almost always use right at the limit. In the last few months, we have gone over the limit that they allow. And so we get charged extra. So he was going to call and see about, well, let's upgrade to this giga whatever. And so then we started looking at plans. And then he noticed, oh, well, we can get this plan, which is basically the exact same plan that we get now, except the speeds are faster for $20 less a month. And it's like, well, if that's possible, why are we paying $20 more a month and then paying for overages? So basically, we could, for $20 less a month, get the same limit we have now. And then if we go over, the money that we were getting charged for going over, we're paying $20 less. That $20 could go towards what we've been getting charged in overages anyway. So, of course, it's one of those, it's only for 12 months and then they switch you back and blah, blah, blah. So we went ahead and did that because I'm hoping we're not going to be here for another 12 months. So by the time it runs out, we'll be gone anyway. But it's just irritating. Like if you could give me actually better service, you know, it's the same amount of, the data cap is the same, but the speeds are faster for less money. Who would not take that as an option? And if you can offer that, why wouldn't you? Why? Because they could have been charging me more money all along, and I, like a fool, was paying it. So for me, I think I've decided it's kind of like car insurance. You know, you think, oh, well, I'm going to get car insurance and I'm going to stick with this company because I'm a valued customer, right? That isn't ever how it works, though. You get the best deals if you shop around. So instead of keeping the same company for 20 years and being rewarded for your loyalty like you used to be, now, at least for us, it actually makes more sense for us to shop around every 2 or 3 years because we get better deals that way. Even though nothing about us has changed really, except that we're all getting older. So there is that. That was the good thing about car insurance being due this month. It actually has gone down because my youngest is getting older, which means he's moving out of that super duper high risk category for teenage boys, because as we all know, they are the most expensive to insure because statistically they are the most likely to get into an accident. And he hates when I point that out, but statistically speaking, it's true. Now, of the people in our household, he's probably not the most likely to get in an accident, but that's not what the insurance company says, so it is what it is. And I have managed to finish this whole section, so I'm going to peel off this one. This is one of the things I love about rounds, and that is that it goes so darn quick. So I can't That's why I love working on some of these small kind of snack size ones, because they go so quick and I feel like I got something accomplished because they do go so fast. Anyway, let's see. Talked about paying off the car. I've kind of gone all over the place, but once again, I started this whip and chat with no kind of plan in mind. I didn't make myself any notes. I do have some more unboxings to do. I'm also hoping today to put together some more random acts of kindness packages to be mailed out. I have a couple put together already, and I want to do some more. I had some more kits that I ordered come in, and I wanted to send some mystery kits out to some people because I thought maybe that would be good, because not everybody has done a mystery painting, and I like them. I like the mystery of them and kind of not knowing what the picture is going to turn out to be until you're done. So I found some really inexpensive ones on Amazon, and I thought, well, this will be good. If I want to keep one and I can do it. I've done several mystery paintings, like I said, and I enjoyed them. So if I want to keep it and I want to do it, then I can. If not, I can send them out. Well, what I got when I got them was, they're not really mystery paintings so much as they are grab bag paintings. And I mean that in that they're not a mystery as in they're white and there's no printed design, so you really have no idea. And like they have a question mark where the thumbnail would be, so you have no idea what the picture is going to be literally until you're done diamond painting it. And I have enjoyed those. Like I said, I've done a couple of them and I've enjoyed both of them. I've seen people do them, and I've seen some really cool ones. So I thought, okay, I'll just, I wasn't expecting them to be anything fancy. They were, like I said, inexpensive. But I just thought, oh, I'll get a couple of these and see what they are. Well, and the picture, they're from Amazon. The picture of it showed, the mystery painting, the black and white with just the letters, the white background with the black letters on top of it so you wouldn't know what it was. Now, one of them did say that it was going to be like a flower or a landscape one. So I was like, okay, cool, flower, landscape, I'm cool with that. I've done a mystery landscape. It was pretty. I liked it. So I ordered a couple of those, and then I ordered another one from a different place that didn't say they would be landscape, and just thought, okay, so you just get whatever. And they all arrived, and none of them are mystery paintings. None of them are black and white. They are all just basic kits, but they're like what I would call grab bag kits, not mystery kits. They're not mystery in that even you as the diamond painter don't know what they are. They're mystery in that they basically just pulled something off the shelf and sent it to me, so I didn't know what I was going to get, but it's not a mystery painting, which is okay. It's not that I think those are bad. It's just that's not what I thought I was ordering, and that's irritating because that's not what I thought I was ordering. So I'm probably going to go back on their Amazon page and leave a little note that's like, if you think you're ordering an actual mystery painting, you're not. This is a grab bag kind of thing, and you're just getting a random kit that they send you. It's not really a mystery kit, it's a random one, which is completely different. And I don't know if that is because of a translation issue. Most of these are coming from Chinese companies who've set up Amazon pages. So I don't know if that is a miscommunication, mistranslation. Because of the way the pictures are on there, it makes me think it's not, which if they're deceiving people on purpose, that's irritating. So I definitely want to go back and leave feedback because of that. Because like I said, it's not that I mind doing the grab bag thing, but if that's what's happening, I want to know that's what's happening so that I know what I'm getting. I'm trying to look through here and make sure I've got all of the 3s. I think I got all of them. I'll probably have to go back and look again, but I think I got all of them. So I have some paintings that I will be able to put in my random acts of kindness whenever I get around to sending out the next batch. So, because I try to put some fun diamond painting things in there so that everybody can kind of have a little diamond painting kit. And I've had some very nice people send me not only thank you cards, but I've had people send me some emails that were just made my day. So, and not that any of that is expected, but literally these are, for me, just a way to bring a little sunshine into someone's day. So if you would like to sign up for a random act of kindness, there is always a link in the description below my videos that has a link to the Google form. You simply fill out the form and that adds you to my list. Google very nicely keeps a little spreadsheet for me and adds you to it as you enter your information and submit it. And then I can put you on the list to receive a random act of kindness. Now, I do, as I've said many times, have to wait until I have the funds to not only put things in the random acts of kindness, but also to mail them. But I do try to keep up with them as best I can. I have fallen a bit behind because I have had so many people sign up. If you sign up and you haven't received anything, and it's only been a couple of months, please give me time because I am a couple of months behind at this point on the list. But I just had a lot of people sign up. However, if it's been more than a couple of months and you haven't received anything, then you might make sure that you entered all of your information. There are several people that I have had to bypass on the list because they didn't include their complete mailing address. If you are in the States, don't forget to include your city, state, and zip code so that I have your complete mailing address within the States. If you are outside the United States, please include your complete address, including, I don't know how all countries work, but like in Canada, you would need the city, the province, your postal code, and then what country you're in. Because a lot of countries, like Canada, are really goofy about international mail. Even mailing things first class, I have to put Canada on the package or Canada Post will not accept it. And my local postmaster said that he has had packages returned for that simple reason. The address was correct, everything was correct, the postal code was correct. It was just that it didn't say Canada on it, and so Canada Post refused it. Now, I don't know why they would do that. Somebody was just having a bad day at Canada Post. That seems insane to me, but international shipping is expensive enough. I certainly don't want to have them cancel what I've paid for postage and then something gets returned and I have to do it again. So again, whether you're in the US or out, just make sure that you're including your entire address so that I can send you something. So I do try to catch duplicates. So if you're worried about, resubmitting, don't. I do try to keep a list of once I've sent it to you, I mark it off so that I know where it went. And then start working my way down the rest of the list. But I do have, for those of you who have submitted and I did not have a complete address, I have left you on the list so that I know it's because you didn't have a complete address the first time and I need to send you something the second time, assuming I get a complete address the second time. So, because who doesn't like getting fun stuff in the mail? I like getting fun stuff in the mail. Let's see, what am I doing? Number 5. Getting stuff in the mail is always fun, especially if you didn't know something was coming. I think that's part of it too. Getting something unexpected and maybe on a day when you really could have used that little pick-me-up. So, I mean, that's probably most days for all of us who couldn't use a pick-me-up someday, right? But you know, some days you're just having an extra down day and it really just meant that little bit more to have it come on those days. That's how I felt a couple of times when I've gotten emails from people that it's like, oh, I was kind of having a bad day and then somebody sent something and it just was like, okay, reaffirmed kind of what I'm doing and where I'm headed and the kind of things that I want to do. Right? Because we don't want to compare ourselves to other people. Comparison is the thief of joy. Everybody has their own journey, and you never know where someone is at on theirs, right? That was a lesson to me for today for my psychological lesson for the day was that, you know, it's human nature to compare ourselves to other people, but you really shouldn't because you have no idea what other people are going through. So everybody's journey is different. I had to tell myself that the other day. I was watching some diamond painting videos from other creators. My pen is losing wax again. I was watching some videos from some other creators and I thought, oh, you know, I should do this or I should do that or maybe I should try this. And then I thought, you know, I just need to do what makes sense to me. I can do any of these other things if I want, but I don't need to do them. You know, I think in our brains we think, well, this person is successful, so if I do what they're doing, then I'll be successful as well. And that's not always necessarily true. So trying to do the things that, especially for the channel, that I would think are interesting. I try to find paintings that I think are interesting. I try to find companies that I haven't tried before. I try to find projects that I haven't done before. So, because I think if I keep it, you know, if I think it's interesting, then hopefully you guys are going to think it's interesting. Because I think that comes across. You know, you can tell if somebody's doing something just because they think it's going to be popular or whatever, and it's not really something they're interested in or whatever. So, and I'm so excited, you guys. I was getting a little frustrated with myself because I have so many projects on the go, and that's just not typically how I work. But for the YouTube channel, it's just kind of turned into how things go for me. So that's been a struggle for me to kind of figure out, you know, how to deal with. This isn't ideally how I would do things, but I've chosen to do the YouTube channel. I want to continue to do the YouTube channel. It makes me happy. And so I need to figure out some other ways to do things so that I can make it work for me. And one of the biggest things that was bothering me was not having my Diana done, my Josephine wall that I started finished. And she had been hanging up on the wall because she's so big, hanging up on the wall in my craft room, just taunting me every time I came in here that I needed to get my behind in gear and start working on her. And I just hadn't. And I finally, a week ago, drug everything back out, set it all up on my kitchen table, and said, okay, she's going to stay here until I'm done. Don't know how long that's going to be, but that's what's going to happen. We put the leaf in my dining room table so that there is still a little bit of room for people to sit and eat. We can't all sit around the table, but until she's finished, that's where she's going to stay, because that's where she's in my face and I'm going to work on her. So I have my drafting table where I've had this one set up, but I haven't gotten a lot of work done on this one because I have been working on Diana. And I'm super excited to report that she is almost finished. I'm hopeful that here in the next couple of days, I will have her finished so that I will be able to share the finish of that one with you, because she has been my largest project to date. I ordered a frame for her, which I was going to order from Frame USA. Frame USA was a no-go because they did not have a frame big enough. It's not that I couldn't get the frame, but I couldn't get the backing or the acrylic that I wanted to go in front of it. They did not have in a large enough size, which doesn't really make any sense to me, because why would you carry a frame but not carry the acrylic and stuff? I don't know if at that point it was just a large enough size that most people use actual glass, but I don't want actual glass because that would make that painting way too heavy. So I didn't want to do that. So I went to Frame It Easy. They had it, and I could have gotten what I wanted, but it was going to be almost $150 just for the frame. And after looking on Amazon, I could get the same size frame with the acrylic and everything that I wanted for less money. Plus, if I get it with Amazon, if I don't like it, it's much easier to return it than using someplace like Frame It Easy. So I figured I will go the less expensive route, see how it works. If I don't like it, then I can always return it and go buy the more expensive one. So that's what I'm doing. But even with Amazon, I'm having to wait for this frame to ship. So I can't wait for it to get here, because I already have a spot on my wall picked out where I want her to go. And I can't wait to get her framed and kind of show you guys that process and show you what she looks like, because I think she's going to look amazing. I have been adding in ABs that I purchased on her, and I will kind of show you guys all of that when I get her finished. I'll show you all the extra things that I've done and everything, but I'm so super happy the way she's turning out. I have posted a couple of pictures on my Instagram. You can't see the whole painting, but I've posted a couple of pictures on my Instagram of all the ABs and what they look like. So if you want to check me out over on Instagram, it's at diamondpaintinganonymous. And you can see some of the pictures that I've posted of the drills, kind of up close of the drills and how awesome they look. I have been working on the moon in her, and I just happen to have quite a few colors of ABs that I had purchased. So there just ended up being a lot of ABs in a couple of sections, which I was afraid was going to be too much, but is actually turning out to look amazing. I love just kind of walking around the table and looking at how it sparkles, just even laying on my dining room table, at how amazing it looks. So I'm super excited for that. And then my next dilemma is, I was excited to kind of get her finished, get her framed, get her hung up, and then de-kit, because so much of my storage is currently taken up with her. But then my husband was asking me, because I bought 2 Diamond Painting Deutschland canvases at the same time. So my husband was asking me when I'm going to do the other one. And, my initial answer was not anytime soon, because Diana is only 250 colors. The other one I bought is actually 300 colors, so it's even more colors. And so then I got to thinking, well, do I want to kit it down? Because I am friends with some other people who have also done large Josephine walls from Diamond Painting Deutschland. And from some of our conversations, it appears that Diamond Painting Deutschland uses the same symbols for colors across canvases. So like if 310 is a triangle pointing up on my Diana, then 310 should also be that same triangle pointing up on my other Diamond Painting Deutschland one. So one of the people that I talk with also purchased two, and her plan is to finish the one and then kind of leave everything kitted up in jars and just kind of kit up from there for the next one, since a lot of them will probably be the same, so that she doesn't have to peel all the stickers off the jars and kind of start everything over, which admittedly is a lot of work. And so I'm considering the same thing. But since I'm probably not going to start that one for a while, I don't know if that's what I want to do. So I'm still debating on whether or not I'm actually going to just dekit everything. Part of me also wants to just dekit everything because I've purchased different kinds of storage since I kitted that one up. And I could kit up more colors in less space with some other storage systems that I have since purchased. And so I don't know if that makes more sense. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do. It certainly is less work to kind of leave it as is and just wait until I'm ready to work on the next one. But I don't, it could literally be 6 months or more before I work on the next one. Or I could get a wild hair and decide I want to work on it next week. I don't know. And so, do I wait knowing that, things could change and I'm making more work for myself in the long run? Or do I just go ahead and do it and be like, well, it just is going to be what it is. And if I end up making more work for myself later, then that's my problem, right? So I'm curious, have any of you done any Josephine walls or any other kits that have huge amounts of colors like that? And what, have you done more than one? Have you left it kitted up? Have you decided to do something different? Inquiring minds want to know. Let's see. I'm going to do this one first. I was trying to go in order as I put them back in, but so what number is this? This is F. Do I have any Fs? Do I even have any Fs in this one? I don't think I do. I don't see any Fs. I don't. Interesting. Okay. So I just poured those out for nothing. Well, I am about out of time anyway. So since I don't have any of these colors, I'm going to go ahead and dump these back in, and I'm going to call it good. I've made it through this without anyone coming home and making a bunch of noise, and I should probably call it quits before that happens, because it will. So thank you so much for joining me for this WIP and Chat. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope my rambling wasn't too much for you, but I got a lot of work done on this canvas, so I'm excited, and I will see you guys next time. As always, guys, if you like this video, don't forget to do all the things on your way out. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.